Good morning, traders. Gates W. Adams here, and I am your host. Welcome back to another episode. We have a fantastic show in store for you today. I'm glad you're here and looking forward to connecting with you guys. Keep it coming in the chat. We would love to interact with you guys as we go through the show. As we get started today, first and foremost, just a little bit about what's going on in the world of finance. The biggest thing going on in finance is really geopolitical. Obviously, our hearts go out to everybody affected by the conflict in Israel right now. But this is not a geopolitical show, so we're not going to go much deeper than that, other than to say, obviously, it's important to be aware of everything that's going on, not just in the markets, but in the world. And as you look at any sort of news outlets right now, that's pretty much highlighting everything. Yes, geopolitical issues have an effect on the market. As a trader, this is information that you need to be aware of and you need to know. So, that being said, of course, we want to make sure that we highlight all of the things that we look at and that we're focused on as we take on the trading day. So we won't get too much deeper into that, but just something to absolutely make sure you're taking a look at. Beyond that, as usual, we will be giving away several evaluations today for Apex Trader Funding. So as soon as you see the opportunity, make sure you fill out the form and get into that drawing for some freebies. Always exciting. And beyond that, we have an awesome show today. I'm bringing Bobby in today. He's going to share with us some of his success and some of his strategies that have helped him continue to bring home the bacon.
Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now.
Bobby, what's going on, man?
What's up, Gates? What's up, man?
Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, man. Love having you here.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's learn a little something about Bobby. Bobby, how long have you been trading, man?
I would say I did some options for the last 3-4 years. Semi-retired healthcare executive. My uncle said, you know what? He's a former Goldman Sachs. He said, why don't you try futures? I said, you know what? Let's try futures. No theta burn, no strike price. And I like it. It's a nice little diversification. I'm glad I listened to him.
There is a certain dynamic when you get away from the Greeks that, to me, just spelled relief, man. It was really fun making that transition. So, well, that's exciting. So obviously you've been trading now. You said now for a few years.
2 years now. I did futures about 2 years and options about 2.5 years. I belong around the AMC GMC saga a few years ago. Did well with that and went to options, SPX, ATFs, QQs. Then I realized, you know what? Uncle says, check out futures, NQES, and oil and treasuries. I said, why not? Let's try it. And was blessed, do really well so far.
Now, were you immediately successful? Did you transition your strategies from other instruments, or did you actually have to relearn and regrow as you made that transition?
Well, you know, people don't realize it's options and futures are different, but yet the strategy is there, the patience. They're setting the charts up, getting the right setup. I had fails in the beginning, like most traders, the FOMO, too much oversizing, like everyone has. But you learn along the way that the mistakes you make, and you have great friends along the way to help you, that makes you become a better trader. You learn from your mistakes.
Well, trading community, I think, is so important. It's so easy to get caught up in the idea that I'm in this little pocket. I'm in this little box right now, nobody around, and I can make my living this way. But that community just brings that sense of fullness to the idea, which, in my opinion, I think definitely helps a lot of people be more successful, if we're being honest with it. So I love that. I love hearing that. Now for you, obviously, now what brought you into the world of trading in the first place? I think you had a little bit of a different career moving into this, right?
Yeah, I was semi-retired. I decided to, right after COVID, went to retirement, brothers and sisters in the family healthcare, sold a practice. And I realized, you know, it's time to do something a little different. And Uncle says, check out some stocks and options. So I tried it and I liked the, you know, strategic, it's planning. Like most things in life, you have to prepare to do well. And that kind of, in my background in planning things, learning things, that was very challenging. I enjoyed it. That's why I chose it.
Well, that's awesome. So what did that progression look like for you? What did it take for you to actually get to the point where you're consistent, you're successful, you're making money on a regular basis as a trader.
It's one thing you have to learn from your mistakes.
Mhm.
You have to be patient. There's a routine, and you and I speaking earlier. You meditate. I walk my dog. I go to the gym. I'll show you later what I do later when I share my chart. But I always do the same routine every day, and I think being consistent is the secret to anything. It's consistency.
Absolutely. I think routine is such a big factor. And I know you and I talked about the fact that when I open my charts, I pretty much go into trading. I don't do a lot of chart prep because of what I'm looking for when I trade. I know for other people, they've got to be in there the night before. They've got to be in there an hour before. And everybody's going to be a little bit different on what that routine looks like. But ultimately, just having that routine, not having to guess what it is that you're doing next, makes it a lot easier to move into that zone, if you will.
I agree. And my routine is a little bit different. I'm kind of like you. I don't go the night before. I go 7 in the morning, look at the news, see my London Asian session. I'll show you that later. And just get my mind ready for some of the things I'm going to expect. Because whatever you think you might know, that's in the past. The market can change. For example, Israel Hamas. Look what happened on yesterday. Right. It dropped like 50 points on open, 75 points open yesterday for that. Now it's finally back. So it's very unexpected, but you have to be proactive.
Well, the one thing that I always learned about the market is that it's driven by human beings, and that is the most unpredictable factor in the world. Now, there's obviously some factors that make it somewhat predictable, but you have to understand that it's not always going to follow the pattern. So being malleable, being able to transition as needed, or at least recognize that, hey, maybe today is not the day to trade.
I agree. And I never trade on news days. I turn everything off. I mean, 3-star news, J. Powell, FOMC. I never.
Right. Yeah. There's, you know what? It depends on the news, but I'll usually at least steer clear a little before and after. I think that those unpredictable swings, some people love them, but again, that's a lot of risk. So
to me, it's a gamble shoot to portray
right.
these days. You put a couple contracts, you can get blown in margins in a heartbeat if you don't watch yourself. So
some people roll dice, some people watch sports, some people trade the news.
I'd rather be consistent.
There you go. There's much more predictability outside of those moments.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So what is it primarily that you trade these days?
I trade mostly NQ, ES, and treasuries. That's the things I focus on. NQ is my preferred, then treasuries and ES. They're all very different. NQ is crazy. It's very volatile. I could do 80, 100 points on a heartbeat. ES a little more steady, and UB is like a sloth. You know where it's going. That's where it is.
Always a positive way to be able to see that. And of course, that takes time and learning to read the market and what's going on. And, obviously, you talk about ES versus NQ. To me, those couldn't be more different. And one of the reasons that I trade NQ is, and I know you guys have heard me say this on the show before, I like to be in and out of a trade within seconds. If I hit the minute mark on a trade, like that is severe anxiety. I actually started to get pretty good at juggling because I was trading some other markets. And during those moments where I was waiting for a trade to close, I would practice juggling, and I started getting pretty good. And then I started trading exclusively NQ, and that went away. So everybody's got their thing.
NQ is another beast now. You better get ready for it because you can get some great scalp, 50, 85 ticks, and it can turn around in a heartbeat on you, So
well, I even this morning I missed an entry, and then even after that, I spotted a trade that was coming up, and it was just impossible to get into.
Yeah.
When you have, look, there's the pros and cons to either side. If it's fast, you've got to deal with the repercussions that come with fast. Plus, I use a trade copier, which sometimes creates even other issues. I love it. It's such a benefit and value to me, but I have to be aware of those dynamics because I trade something like NQ. If it's ES, it's usually going to execute pretty easily.
It's great. I love it. I love those 3 instruments. They're my favorite. I only ever change, to be honest with you. So
that's awesome. So let's talk about what it is that actually makes for a good trade for you. What are you looking for in the markets that brings you in and out?
Well, I always I'm not sure if I'm share my chart, but I always mentally prepare my Asian session. Let me get a move real quick for you.
There we go.
Sorry, excuse me there. So this is my morning routine. I learned this from some of my friends, my super friends. I'll give a shout later. They know who they are. So
they know.
I always
we'll spec, yeah.
I always go to it's called initial balance in a session. So this kind of tells me when I'm looking at 15 minute, I go out to 30 minute, see what's going on, then 10 minute, excuse me, then 15 minute. So I kind of know what the high session is, what the low session, plus with the London market too. So it gives me an idea in my mind. If it breaks that London session high, it's going to rip to the next level. If
Right.
it hits that and it bounces down, it's going to go down most of the time. So I always, besides that, I do what's called, you probably know this, right? It's market profile, volume profile, point of contact. I do that too, which is really great. It's like the red line here is point of contact. So I kind of know in my mind, this is the price prior to Israel. If that didn't happen, this is where it's going to be aimed towards come back for NQ. But today's situation, that's thrown out the window. So we're not going to worry about that. But that's how I get ready in the morning to get my mind ready for both ES and NQ pretty much.
That's okay. So that's kind of your prep work. So you know where your highs, your lows, you know what you're looking to surpass, you know what you're looking for in terms of a bounce. So once you have those pieces of the puzzle together, what says now's the time? Get in.
This is where it helps me. So this is what I use to help me, and I'm very blessed to met some great friends and traders from Trapper.com, Steve. They designed a visual background. As you notice back here, you see a little red, you see a little, I would say yellow, amber. Just give you a visual idea. It's all EMA crossovers and historical data. So it gives me an idea. I'm already, for example, this morning, I'm already short bias already. So when I see a bounce, I want to short it when it goes to the very top. So in my mind, I'm not going to go long. I'm going to go wait for it to hit the top and go down 20, 30 ticks. So that's how I prepare myself. Right now, I'm not going to enter because it's too sporadic. The EMAs are not aligned up. So these are some of the tools that we have at Trapper.com that I use that's helped me a lot, along with everything I discuss, the pre-setup market. It helps me. So that's just my preference.
That's awesome. And I know for me, I'm a very visual learner. Yes. So stuff like this is such a huge value to me because everything that I'm looking at when I'm trading, it's all a visual cue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to add that confirmation, to add that extra sense of okay, well, this tells me without having to process quickly.
Yes.
Now that gives you an extra idea of what you're looking for. So like maybe we can scroll back. You said you took a few trades today, right?
Oh, earlier today. Yeah.
Would you be up for showing those?
Let me see if I can. It's on my other trading computer.
Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it.
I apologize.
No worries. So
mostly I would say 80% shorts today, and maybe a couple, maybe 4 or 5 long. But I would say most of them were short today, based on what I've seen right now. So it was all short today for me after the bounce.
Gotcha.
Bounce.
Now, so what does a trade typically look like for you? You're talking about multiple trades. I know some guys are looking for that 1 or 2 trades and that's it. Some guys are looking for 15 or 20. I talked to a guy, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and he's looking for 10 trades in 30 minutes. And that to me, that seemed extreme. What is it that you look for in terms of risk reward? How big of a move are you looking for? What does that look like for you?
For me, Mike, I used to have a goal of hitting 500 to 1,000 a day. Mm-hmm. And I've realized that when you have that goal there, it puts a lot of pressure on you to play that. And I notice when I overtrade is when I make a lot of mistakes. Right now, I brought it down to 500, 500 per account. That does well for me. And on NQ, that's like that.
Right.
Yeah. So my goal is to hit 1 or 2 contracts, do 25, 30 ticks each one, and you're already in $400 range already. You're done for the day.
Right.
So my goal is to get in and get out as soon as possible and go play tens and golf with my friends. That's my goal. So that's what I do.
Well, that sounds a little different from the medical practice lifestyle, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Well, semi-retirement is what I want. I want a stress-free quality of life now. So this is going to give me a lot of stress. I'm happy.
I love it. So let's talk about risk reward. So if you're looking for a 20, 25, 30 point move, what kind of a risk are you putting on that?
I always talk to them 2-to-1 ratio risk. I'm going to put in 30 for risk and maybe 50 risk and 30 reward.
Okay.
Since you NQ, it might not go back, but you hit the 34, you hit the 50, in my opinion. So I noticed that's my 2-to-1 ratio. I think you have
So
too, right? Similar idea too for you
I'm
too.
sorry.
I think you're the same way, 2-to-1 ratio too, right? Am I correct? Your strategy.
But mine is actually flipped. My little scalps, I'm shooting for a 9-tick profit with a up to a 21-tick reward, which means that I have to be very precise. And fortunately, I learned from one of the best out there. Shout out to Daryl Martin, CEO of Apex Trading Funding.
Great.
Why not? Let's go ahead and shout him out because he has absolutely made such an impact on my life and the life of literally thousands. Anyway, side note there. But yeah, so when you're looking at that 9 to 21 risk reward ratio that is not in your favor, that means that requires like an 80% win rate to be consistently profitable. And while I have absolutely had my ups and downs, and I know every other trader has, when you kind of get into that zone, it's look, we're not talking about my trading today, but that is absolutely a big factor. And that's one of the reasons that I always bring it up in the show, because different people, of course, are going to operate differently. So if you're looking to risk 15 for a gain of 30, you can actually win 50-50 and still be profitable.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And hopefully you win more than you lose. So if you don't overtrade, you stay consistent, follow your rules, you will do well. Because most people, like, I'm human. I go angry. I want to go in 10 contracts now. I'm upset with my personal account. Then you realize, wait a second, you're just down. Oh, you're just lucky you caught that. But what if you were down? Now you've got 10 contracts on a cash account. That's a whole new ballgame now,
Well, and that brings to mind, of course, the fact that, obviously operating as a funded trader, that kind of changes the dynamics of that feeling, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? One thing I chose prop firms that did, and I'm blessed to do very well, several payouts on Apex and a few other prop firms, is touchy discipline. Like on my personal cash account, I can hold for a day because I have a huge margin. But on this, you're not going to hold for days. You're lucky you hold for an hour. Right? That's the secret. It teaches you to be very disciplined. And I'm glad I found that because it makes you more effective trader, in my opinion.
And see, I 100% agree. A lot of people talk about the rules with Apex and with other firms and things like that. And when handled, or at least when looked at through the right lens, in my opinion, if you follow those rules, if you take those rules to heart, they will actually make you a better trader. And so for me, I've always found it to be a blessing, even if it costs me an account every now and again.
Absolutely. Like I said, the rules are there to make you an efficient trader. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's going to have a large cash personal account to trade for days. Right. If you do well with any prop firm, you get paid several times, you're doing okay because you're following your rules and you're consistent. And that's what it is about, consistency. That's all that is.
Consistency is key.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about lifestyle. So we talked a little bit about this, kind of going into some of the charts and everything. So for you, what has changed now primarily functioning as a trader versus your previous life, I guess, if you will? What has trading actually brought to your world?
It gives me more time. I can trade for a couple hours a day and go spend time with my dog. I volunteer a lot at Big Dog Rescue for veterans with PTSD. I have more time for myself, more tennis, more golf time. So I still have a goal that I want to do well each day in my trades, which is what I want. I like goal. Humans like goals and routine. That's my routine. I do well, and I go off to other things which I like. So it's about quality of life, in my opinion. That's important now.
You brought up something that really is. This is a thought that I've expressed multiple times as well. Is that it's easy for traders to lose a sense of purpose if they're doing really, really well. Because I think a lot of times traders get into the world of trading because, hey, I want to work for an hour or two a day and I want to make a ton of money and I want to go play constantly. I want to travel. I want to do this. And look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's one of the big benefits and perks. But when you lose a sense of purpose, and so many of us apply our sense of purpose to what we do for a living, when we're trading, that looks a little bit different. So you talk about working with your dog, you talk about working with other dogs and veterans with PTSD. Does that bring back maybe some of that sense of purpose that is not now necessarily tied to your profession?
Absolutely. I think doing that takes me away from the little like a feng shui meditation that you meditate. It's my personal time for myself.
Right.
I just trading or healthcare. that gives you that less stress. You live a lot longer, and I realize that less stress, live longer. And you're right. When traders they lose their purpose sometimes, and you need to regain that purpose, you can do much better. Once you lose that purpose in any kind of field, you're gonna bomb, and you don't want to have that.
Well, I think psychologically speaking, if people don't have something that they're shooting for, a lot of times they'll create that. The easiest way to create that, psychologically speaking, is to burn it all to the ground and start over. So I'm a big proponent of traders having something outside of trading that drives them, that moves them, so that they don't let that basically take the hit.
Absolutely, because psychology at some point, if you're like, oh, you know, we're talking what you did on your other profession is the mental aspect, how you deal with family interaction, your friends. It's going to affect your trading no matter what. You had a bad day with your wife, you have a bad day in trading, period. I mean,
anybody who has ever traded after having a fight with their wife or their husband or their significant other, my goodness. Yeah, if you don't think the two are interconnected, yeah. I love it.
Like you said, you know, what we do, you and I do, that builds that positive feng shui energy. And I have great friends around me now. And they've been supportive from, you know, my super friends, Mel, Sherry, Nurse G, to Steve and Cy and Jimmy at the Trumper Group. They're just amazing guys. They're there to help me, advise me. Oh, follow this, learn this. They take the time out to help me. And it just, without them, I would not be successful. This learning curve, plus my uncle, obviously. But man, it's just substantial night and day in the last 3-4 years because of those
Entries
people.
on that queue.
Well, and that's ultimately what it boils down to is, I think that by default in the traditional world of employment, we have all of those things in place. Look, we're looking at 40 plus hours a week. We're looking at the same people around us. We don't necessarily always get to choose the people who are around us, right?
You're right.
And so sometimes that works great. Sometimes it can even be, you know, of course, detrimental or, you know, even worse in some cases. Whereas when we start taking this road where we have control over everything, not just our time, not just our income, but how we surround ourselves, how we influence ourselves, what we allow into that fold. That can go two ways. We can either neglect all of that and sit there on a screen for a few hours a day and really, when something goes wrong there, have it affect everything. Or we can create that balance in a completely different but proactive and chosen way. And it sounds like you've done a great job of that.
I'm trying. I'm trying. Like I said, every day is a construction, and we're here to better ourselves. And as long as you have a strong friendship, good connection, and you do good stuff around people, karma does come around. We'll help you out. You don't want to have bad karma. I tell people I want to have karma on credit. That's my goal in life.
You know, it's funny how often karma comes up on this show. This is absolutely not the first time. I love it.
Karma on credit.
So I'm totally curious here because we just had a little break out of that amber little box. Now, if you were actually not on the show and trading, is this something that you would have seen as an opportunity?
I would have gone in already, but see the blue bar right there?
Uh-huh.
That gives me an indicator that it's breaking out of the chop box. This here is the chop box. It's time to go long. I would have gone in right here when the blue box popped up, and easy with a 20, 30 ticks right there automatically. Easy.
Yeah, I can't see the number. You said about 23 ticks?
Right around here, when 1500, it would hit, around 1500 to 1513. It's around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, easily. I mean, it just tells you, but look at this. And all these tools, I'll give you an example, and I want to give respect to Steve Tremper. For example, the status box, it tells you your analyze your peak account, your drawdown. Without looking at your rhythmic, it's all right there in front of your face. And this is free on the website. So he's there to help everybody. That guy's amazing. Him and Cy and Jimmy, they're so great in my group. And I tell you guys, check it out, you guys. And these tools are great to hear to help you. So
right,
you guys check it out.
so let's give them an official shout out here. What is it? Tremper.com?
Tremper.com. Yeah, Steve Tremper. Absolutely.
So Tremper. You guys can see that under his name, I believe, right there with right next to Bobby's name there. And these are expensive tools, right?
No, actually, it's beta, so it's for free. I'm one of the founding beta. So, and like I said, I've not gone this far without the help of my friends, from my super friends, Nurse, Sherry, Rickster, Mel, and Beezer, plus and Tremper's group, Skype group. So it's all there to help each other, and more brains together, it's going to help you become better. Great minds work together. Simple as that.
So we've got some free tools at play. Now, do they actually, or do they show you how to use them and how to effectively get them?
He has a great tech support. The Skype. He spends 2 hours every day to help you. The whole group there will help you. It's easy setup.
That's crazy.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Chris, how to get? Go to Tremper.com and follow the rules or follow the guidance. They'll show you how to get that done.
Yeah, join the Skype room, say hello, say Bobby sent you, and we'll have a blast.
Yeah, well, awesome, man. I love the opportunity to share with or to promote and share people who are doing things to promote and share with people. So that's awesome, man. Well, listen, if you're talking to this brand new trader, they're maybe past that point where they're past sim and they really want to go live and start moving as a funded trader or funding themselves. What's the biggest piece of advice you give them?
Be consistent and don't overtrade. When you're done, step away. I make the mistake. I could be up 4,000 and down -500. I don't know what happened because I overtraded. Don't overtrade.
I promise I'm not going to share the stories where I took 30 plus trades in less than an hour. So I believe that because, by the way, those days never turn out great. And they usually don't even turn out good. They usually turn out pretty rough. So that's a wonderful piece of advice. I appreciate that. Bobby, thanks so much for being on the show today. If you guys, folks, if you have not had a chance yet, right there in the chat is the giveaway, the form from Benzinga. Make sure you fill that out. We'll be giving away here in just a quick second 3 Apex Trader funding evaluations. So make sure you get those filled out while we start to wrap up here, and we'll announce those winners here in just a few moments. But folks, thank you guys for being with us. Bobby, man, what a pleasure to have you on the show. This has been fantastic, very insightful, and hopefully you guys took some notes. If you didn't, remember this is right there live on YouTube. You can always click back to the link and watch the replay of the show. Great stuff in here. So definitely appreciate that. We're going to be back next week with a brand new show, and we might have a nice, exciting surprise following up from this show.
Yes,
I don't want to promise anything just yet because I gotta put all the finishing touches on it. But definitely come back in. We'll have some great stuff no matter where we land. So thanks for joining us, Heidi, Steve, and Marty. Congratulations. We have some winners of the 3 free Apex Trader funding evaluations. You will be getting an email within the next day or two confirming all of the information and giving you instructions on how to get all of that set up. And somebody went green. Jay, looks like something went green, so congratulations on that. I may not be following exactly what that post was, but congratulations as well. Come back, join us next week for another fantastic show. We'll be back with you and with a new guest and some new exciting hot stuff. So come back and check us out next week on the Trader Bacon Show.
Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded,